On the glory tonight.
Next on Longhorn Extra, the Texas youngsters were all over the Rose Bowl field Saturday. Ahmad Brooks is in-house to break down the freshman's impact on the Horns. Also, we take a peek around the NFL. Could Colt match his younger brother's performance? We'll show you how the former Horns did at the highest level. Plus, it was McCoy to Shipley Part 2. Can the sequel be as good as the original? We hang out with the McShip boys as Austin does anything for Part 3. Welcome to Longhorn Extra. I'm Kevin Dunn. We'll take a closer look at the Longhorn finisher, Cody Johnson, in a bit. Plus, we go all access with the offensive line and find out how they are bonding with the running backs. Speaking of running backs, it appears that the Horns have found one in Malcolm Brown. Brown showed his patience and strength in the first half against UCLA.
Brown breaks a tackle to the 10. Malcolm Brown to the end zone. Touchdown, Texas. Malcolm Brown slices through the Bruin defense for his first touchdown as a Texas Longhorn.
Oh, to take a closer look at Brown and the Texas Longhorns, we welcome in former UTDB Ahmad Brooks. Ahmad, let's go ahead and stick with Malcolm here, because after the game, the offensive line, they lauded how Malcolm Brown runs. What about his style gets the big guy so fired up?
Well, I think he's so tough, and he wears down the defense. You look at his power, his leg drive, his ability to finish off runs. You see him there taking two defenders with him. And what that does for the O-line up front, the big guys, KD, it allows them to put their weight on defensive players in the third and fourth quarter and to make plays. That's why they love this guy's ability. He can do it all. He can catch, he can run, he can block, and he finishes plays and games off the way a running back is supposed to.
Well, there was another guy, actually. Kenny Vaccaro said, I like watching him deliver the blow as a running back. Now, Vaccaro does that as a safety. Been very good for this team so far. Why is he so important in this Texas defense?
He is the interchangeable piece to this defense. He makes it go. He can play on the slot as the nickel back, provide pressure. In addition to that, he's a guy that at one point could have played cornerback. Had Carrington Bindum, of course, Adrian Phillips, and Quandre Diggs not stepped up on the edges, this guy probably would have started at corner.
He's that good of a cover guy.
There's no question about it, and that's why they rely on him as far as one of the toughest jobs of covering on that slot wide receiver. He's been excellent at it, and he's tough, he's physical, and he's the kind of guy that when he gets to any ball carrier, he is trying to break them down, that is. Kenny Vaccaro is, the key word is versatility.
Yeah, you saw it against UCLA. Now, we've had 3 weeks here. Texas is 3-0. What player has looked the best, surprised you the most, and why?
Dominic Espinosa, without question.
Really?
When I look at this young man, of course, I got to show love to the offensive line. In addition to that, we haven't called his name. Offensive linemen, when you call their name, they're not doing something good.
Right.
But in this case, this young man is surrounded by Mason Walters, of course, Snow on the opposite side, and he's been able to be the anchor of this offensive line as a freshman. It's been impressive what he's been able to do. He has been the most surprising piece of this offense and this team, in my opinion.
When you think about it, no fumble snaps, a redshirt freshman there. He's made a lot of calls. That's a pretty good pick right there. Let's go ahead and stick with the offensive line. They've been very good so far. There's always room for improvement. Where do they need to improve?
Well, the fact that they've been able to run the football, KD, has left them in a position where they haven't pass protected as much as you would like. There's going to be a point in the Big 12 play where it is going to be a shootout. Perhaps a game like Texas Tech where you're going to have to pass the football to keep up with the scoring and also to make sure that you can move the ball downfield quickly. Can they pass protect? That is about endurance because those plays last longer, and it's also an opportunity for you to display your good footwork.
When we saw Case McCoy right there, we also saw David Ash at the Rose Bowl. And saw David Ash throw 3 passes, 3 for 3. They're adding a little bit more. Do you think that his Wildcat package, you think they're going to continue to add more play action to that?
Well, it just makes sense. It's the natural progression when you have a guy with his running ability. David Ash's strength at this point has been rushing the football. What they're going to do is to keep defenses off balance is they have to pass the football. Why? Because if you're on the defensive side, if you know he's going to run the football every time, Katie, you load up the box, you put 7 men in there, and you put a spy on him, meaning you have one guy that tracks him everywhere he goes on the field with his throwing ability. And as he progresses as a passer, it opens up things for this offense and also for his package.
Do you feel like Ash is getting more comfortable watching him?
I think so, and I think for a young guy, a true freshman, it's been amazing that he comes in here even under the pressure of playing in front of 100,000 fans or playing in the Rose Bowl. He has not budged one time, and I think that's been an impressive part of his game, and it's the reason why he's earned the respect of his teammates and coaches.
He certainly has. Ahmad, we always appreciate it. Former UTDB Ahmad Brooks. Well, no games this weekend, but you can catch Ahmad and myself at Texas football practice Wednesday at 4 p.m. Central. Ahmad will break down every drill, let you know what's going on live on Longhorn Network. I followed this report from Tuesday practice earlier. Junior quarterback Garrett Gilbert, who started the first 2 games, underwent shoulder surgery Tuesday morning and will miss the remainder of the season. Gilbert injured the shoulder in the Rice game, then it got progressively worse after the BYU game, the game in which Gilbert was benched in favor of Case McCoy and David Ash. Gilbert is expected to make a full recovery, and co-offensive coordinator Brian Harsin says Gilbert will still play a role this season.
Garrett's a guy we want to continue to have in the game plan, just as far as his ideas and thoughts. He always did a great job of that, so we want to keep that as part of his game. Get him down on the sideline, talking to guys, talking to the quarterbacks, what he's seeing, talking to me, and being involved.
He is a great young man. He cares about Texas. He wants this football team to win, and as soon as he can get back out, he's going to get back out on the field and help us win.
In other Tuesday news, Oklahoma President David Boren said the Sooners will decide soon between applying for Pac-12 membership or remaining in the Big 12. The Oklahoman reports that Boren said that in order to stay in the Big 12, Commissioner Dan Beebe would have to be removed, and there would have to be more concrete rules for Longhorn Network. The source said that league presidents do not believe Beebe responded with adequate leadership to Nebraska and Texas A&M's frustration. Still to come, former Horns were making their impact felt this Sunday. Did Colt match his younger brother, and how did Jermichael do? We'll show you when we come back. Also, McCoy dancing around at quarterback, then finding a Shipley who sneaks open sounds incredibly familiar, does it not? We take a look at the duo when we get back.
Texas Longhorns Energy is the only electricity provider committed to supporting the future of the University of Texas. Join other Longhorns in over 400 cities across Texas who are giving back to UT through something they use every day, their electricity. You'll receive competitive rates on 100% renewable energy while supporting great programs on campus. Signing up is simple and only takes a couple of minutes. Make the switch to Texas Longhorns Energy and let your power power the Longhorns.
Longhorn Extra is the place to get your daily dose of Texas sports.
Junior wide receiver Marquise Goodwin has decided to return to the football team
with the latest scores, highlights, and analysis, plus first-hand interviews with UT coaches and players.
There's a lot of pre-snap movement from your defense. What is going on here, Coach?
Breaking news, we got it. Injury updates, we got it. Players to watch, we got it. Longhorn Extra, weekdays at 10 p.m. exclusively on Longhorn Network.
There is nothing like Texas volleyball.
Yes, Rachel Adams with the kill.
Led by senior Rachel Adams, the country's #1 recruiting class is primed to make some noise.
What a shot!
We've got the action, the kills, blocks, and digs Longhorn fans have longed to see. Saturday at 4, Texas takes on Kansas, only on Longhorn Network.
Kids are they're almost born natural scientists. They're curious about everything.
So the way this telescope works, it reflects up to another little mirror that's up at the top of the tube that aims down.
I obviously get very enthusiastic about what I'm talking about. I love talking about space, and I think that probably excites in the kids a little bit.
If you look real carefully, do you notice something on it? Has sunspots that are cooler spots on the sun. Very good.
The program's called Astronomy Outreach, and it motivates young students statewide, fitting that it's geared towards children because its leader is still a kid at heart.
Yeah, I never really grew up. I tend to go out of control when I decide to start collecting something. The stuff that you mostly see in here are Pez dispensers. I've actually become a little bit famous in the department. When I was 5, when the original Star Wars came out and my mom took me to see it, it just blew me away, and I've been a huge Star Wars fan ever since.
Laura's been at UT for 21 years, but now, as a laboratory supervisor, she gets to share her passion with the astronomers of tomorrow.
It's the hottest planet in the solar system. That thick atmosphere traps in all of this heat. Anytime I see a kid who's just like a sponge, they just absorb everything, I think that's great. It gives me hope for the future.
Into the end zone for some icing on the cake as Texas has done all they could do to pass their road test this weekend, 48-20 on top of UCLA.
Cody Johnson finishing off the Bruins in Pasadena. At 252 pounds, that's what Johnson loves to do, finish plays and drives. The senior from Waller knows he's not the featured back, but when Texas needs a few important yards, they call on the finisher.
First word that comes to mind is relentless.
He's a bruiser.
He's heavy.
Cody Johnson's a powerful runner.
The short yardage big man, Cody Johnson. He's across. Touchdown, Texas.
When I go in, I'm going in for one thing only, and that is to get in the end zone.
Touchdown, Texas. Cody Johnson plows across.
There's always going to be one guy that finds himself in the position to make the play, and Cody wins that battle every time.
Johnson got low, kept the feet churning.
He's the guy that will punish you.
Not fun to tackle. It takes more than one guy to bring him down.
When we need a big touchdown, he gets in there.
Well, Cody Johnson is currently tied for second in the Big 12 in rushing touchdowns with 4. However, among the 4 Big 12 backs with at least 4 rushing touchdowns this year, Johnson's 15 rushing attempts are by far the fewest. Over a quarter of Johnson's rushes this year have ended up in the end zone. Well, let's check out some lifetime Longhorns. Bad news for Jamal Charles. The Chiefs running back will miss the rest of the season after an ACL tear to his left knee. You see it right there. Hits the first down pylon, slips on it. Kansas City loses 48-3. The Chiefs did put him on IR Monday, meaning he will not be able to play the rest of the year. Well, it was a good day for Jermichael Finley, though. He continued to show why he's one of the best tight ends in the league. The die ball product had 5 catches for 68 yards in the Packers' 30-23 win over Carolina. His quarterback, Aaron Rodgers, continued to look good, too, throwing for 308 and 2 scores. And it's nice when you have a tight end running seam routes like Jermichael Finley. Cedric Benson had another good day, at least for the modern-day NFL. Set at 16 carries for 59 yards. He also caught 3 balls for 17 yards. The Bengals lost to Denver 24-22. Bunch of Texans playing well. Andy Dalton helped take some of the slack off Benson, throwing for 332 yards. It was not enough, though, for El Ced and the Bengals. Former All-American Brian Arakpo had a sack and forced fumble in the 22-21 win over Arizona. Arakpo got after Kevin Kolb. That's a guy who sacked while on the 40 acres. Kolb came in with University of Houston, didn't get protection then. Arakpo gets to him at the pro level, too. How about Colt McCoy trying to follow in his brother's footsteps? How has that turned around? He was 22 of 32 for 211, did have a touchdown right there and did not have a pick. The Browns also win on the road at Indy 27-19. Yeah, Peyton's not there, but still a good win for Colt McCoy and the Browns. Colt's favorite target in college was this guy. Jordan Shipley is done for the year after tearing his ACL in the Bengals loss. He was put on the IR Monday. The Burnett grad had 3 catches for 15 yards.